Well, I'm joined by well-known entrepreneur and businessman Herman Mashaba, who feels very strongly about transformation and the way we go about it in South Africa. What specifically do you have a problem with regarding black economic empowerment and transformation as is carried out in South Africa at the moment?
You know, Tim, I'm one of the millions of South Africans serious about the transformation of this country. I think looking at what has happened in the past during apartheid, what I'm obviously really feel particularly against is for us to really want to think that we can effect transformation through coming out with race-based legislation. We tried it the last 20 years of our democracy. The results are there for anybody to really see. We sit with an economy that is underperforming. We sit with one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. We've destroyed small businesses in this country the last 20 years of our democracy through this draconian labor legislation that we see in place. I'm saying is, please let us focus on this transformation, do it creatively by not really dividing this nation on a racial basis. We need to get our children to inherit a society that is free of racism.
But now the counter argument would go along the lines that you will have the tensions between races in South Africa because of the relationship to the economy, right? The structure or the patterns of economic ownership that predominantly in white hands and the majority of blacks excluded. And that is why you need to have the redress, as it were, that government is pursuing at this time.
Yeah, but I think it's, you know, Tim, if we think about transformation as an opportunity for us to share this declining cake with white people, then I think something is drastically wrong. I think this country should focus on growing this cake. This country has got the potential to really be an economic powerhouse in Africa and the world eventually. But this can only happen when you have the leadership that can inspire the nation to really look at the future. Make sure that I think you can encourage and incentivize South Africans to really be all of us as South Africans, but not when you sit with a situation where you have the leadership that's dependent on dividing us along racial lines. Unfortunately, a system like this will have devastating effects for long-term survival of this country. And I think that's something that, for me, I feel we've got to really stop before it's too late. I think we allowed apartheid and the National Party to really divide us along racial lines for many years. And we were fortunate in South Africa in 1994. Nelson Mandela came, remarkable South African, inspired us to really look at the future. But unfortunately, for some reason, this country, the last few years, our focus is on actually dividing along racial lines and thinking that we must focus on sharing this declining cake instead of really focusing on mobilizing South Africans to say, guys, let us grow this economy, because in the process of growing this economy, everybody is going to benefit. And who's going to be the biggest beneficiaries of this growth? Us black people, because we're in a majority, we're in government. Let's focus on ensuring that we allow small businesses that used to really operate during the apartheid days. Small business, black South African businesses that were destroyed by the current labor legislation. Let us allow those small businesses to operate, because these small businesses will invariably be the ones responsible for the employment of the 8.5 million unemployed South Africans. Let us invest in education, not education at the university level. Let us invest in education at primary level. Actually, from the time a black child it's born in this country, let's ensure that there's proper education in our community. Let us take away the power from COSATU and SACTU from really controlling education of this country. Education of this country, let it be controlled by government in the interest of all South Africans. For me, that is when you will see 15, 20 years down the line, when you're going to have black engineers, we'll have the main abundance, we're going to have black professors. Right now, there's this debate in our country, people asking us to really have black professors in university. Where are you going to find those professors when we're not actually cultivating them? Sure. So these are the things that I think we're looking for shotgun solutions to this complex challenge. Let us really focus on future and really be prepared to invest and work hard.
Herman Mashaba, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.